following the pattern, I will share with the board the emails that I received. I did make sure that these folks were within the district. So first is, dear Brad, I want to thank you on behalf of myself and my husband Michael for your strong standing against taking on this bond. I know these decisions are well thought out and trust you have weighed is best for us and the county in the long term. Stand firm. Best, Michael and Lori Hull, North Adams, Michigan. Hi Brad, please vote to keep the Lifeways bond on the ballot for voters to decide. Thanks, Annette Scoville from Jefferson Township. Hi Brad, I would like to let you know how I feel about the project proposal for the Lifeway should be put to a vote from the citizens of Hillsdale County, not just the Board of Commissioners. I also would like to have an opinion on file. Thank you, Cheryl Meyer, Jefferson Township. This bond issue needs to go to the voters. My property taxes are already too high, and I'm not interested in this being added to it for another 30 years. Lifeways can get their money from elsewhere. No more taxes. Sandy Tissert. The vote should be on the ballot. Anytime taxpayers are asked for more money, they need the say. Please stand up for those who elected you and trusted you. From District 4, Chris Schwartz. Mr. Benzing, thank you for your vote. Put Lifeways on the ballot. It's the right thing to do. Thank you, Chris Wingate. Dear Commissioner Benzing, thank you for the principled stand you have taken on the Lifeways issue by voting to refer the issue to the voters. Please continue to do all you can to convince your fellow commissioners. That is what really is the most ethical way to proceed on such a momentous decision. William Clark, Hillsdale, Michigan. And Andrea, since you were able to be here, I am going to dispense with your email, but I will pass it on to the clerk to record with the record of this meeting. However, I do have one from Ben Clark. Dear Commissioner Benzing, my name is Ben Clark, and I am a resident of District 4. While I hope to attend the Board of Commissioners meeting, my work schedule will not allow it. Instead, please enter this email into the public record and read it aloud during the meeting. I am writing you today urging you and the commissioners to keep the $15.5 million Lifeways building bond on the August ballot so that the people of Hillsdale County, who will ultimately bear the liability for it, can decide. This bond is an unnecessary and dangerous risk for the county due to the uncertainty of Lifeway's future funding. The commissioners who don't think this bond is a bad risk must be in denial, or they simply don't care about their constituents, especially after local banks refused Lifeway's loan because it was too risky. Even Lifeway's facility board, who refused to use their $11 million cash reserves on the building, know it's too risky. I am an accountant. I could write paragraphs more detailing the dangers of this bond for the people of Hillsdale County. Instead, I would like to ask some questions on the record. Commissioner Leininger, did you lie to the public and your fellow commissioners during the February 10 meeting when you said Lifeways hadn't submitted the bond amount yet, even though the public records show that they sent a letter on 2/2 reducing the bond to ask for $12 million? Why did I learn from a Lifeways letter on February 9th, the day before the commission was to vote on ballot language for the bond, that you had assured them that you had the votes to vote through a $15.5 million bond at the board level? What conversations are taking place behind closed doors that you knew the ballot language would be voted down and you could have 3 votes to move the bond back onto the agenda? You were very critical of Lifeway's performance during the July update from their former CEO, so why do you want to shackle the county to them for the next 20 to 30 years? If Lifeways defaults on the bond, we will be paying out of the county general fund. Can you go on record and let the people know what departments you will cut or what millages you will introduce to make up for the loss? Commissioner Collins, what exactly did you change your mind about putting this issue on the ballot and tell Commissioners Wiley and or Leininger that you would vote with them to push this bond to the county board? We know that you assured them of your votes by February 9th. The lame excuse you gave on February 10th that the ballot language was too confusing to put before the people is just that, a flimsy cover-up of an excuse because Leininger had already informed Lifeways the day before that he had your vote. Did you know that as of January 1st, you are officially eligible to be recalled? If you can change your mind, so can the people of District 2, and based on the responses we've heard, I would expect it. Will you go on record and tell your constituents which department you want to fund the $1 million payments from? Commissioner Wiley, as both the commissioner for the county and a board member of Lifeways, how do you decide whose needs to serve. I noticed a conflict of interest communication from a decade ago is in today's packet. Seems like a panic move. Do you think you have a direct or indirect conflict of interest in this pecuniary manner and should recuse yourself from the vote under MCL 123? What about under MCL 15.322? Are you confident that the courts will agree with you? Or were you willing to have the county pay to find out instead of letting the people decide? Which department budgets would you like to tell the residents of your district that you are cutting in the case of a missed payment? Finally, do you deny that on November 10, Lifeway's board meeting, you called the citizens of Hillsdale County belligerent because some of them disagreed with you and let others know what you are up to? It seems like you are very uncomfortable with the actions of this board being in the spotlight. Commissioner Benzing and Ingalls, thank you for your past votes to put this issue before the people. I would also like to ask that you introduce a motion to hold at least one meeting a month in the evening. There are a lot of people in this county who want to be heard. The voices are only going to get louder. In the next couple of months, this board is coming to the people of Hillsdale County with your handout asking for funds for a new courthouse, a new jail, and renewing the existing Lifeways millage. If you are going to ignore public opinion and endanger is the future of our tax dollar today, I'm guessing we won't be too generous in the future. If you vote to remove the bond from the ballot today, we will not forget, and we won't let the people forget. You may have only we may only have been a belligerent few last summer, but your backroom dealings have made us a vocal majority, and the citizens' voices will be heard at the ballot box in your not too distant elections. Listen to the people who voted for you. Vote to let the citizens of Hillsdale County decide. Thank you, Ben Clark. And the final one I have is Commissioner Benzing. I find it unbelievable that Lifeways is unable to locate a building to rehab versus build an entirely new structure at a cost of $15.5 million, which doesn't include the price of the land. This $15.5 million bond should be brought to a vote, as was previously thought to be happening, and I am just finding out today that the meeting is tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to take it off the August ballot and move forward with the bond despite verifiable public resistance. All of the tax-paying property owners in Hillsdale County are ultimately responsible for the bond, and it should be on the ballot and up to them to vote. Please represent the people, look out for the best interest, and do the right thing. Allow them to vote on this. Tracy Fitch. I will hand those to the clerk following the meeting. All right, moving on to my report. I did receive 57 emails as of this morning. My apologies to those people who I have not had the time to respond to. Yesterday my day began at 03:30. I worked 12 hours at my EMS job, came home, had dinner, ran a fire department call, and yesterday I spent about 2.5 hours on county business. Worked at my actual real job till about 8 p.m., came home, delayed dinner again to run an MVA accident with my fire department, went to bed about 1:30 after preparing for this meeting. I will respond to you. Public Safety Committee met with Sheriff Hodshire regarding the Brace County's proposal for animal control following the expiration of our current contract on February the 11th. The Sheriff and the Public Safety Committee are in agreement to explore what other options are available and are working currently on a second proposal. Hopefully sometime in March we will have a report on that proposal. We had a productive mediation session with the dispatch supervisors on February the 13th. I believe that we are close to a tentative agreement with them. We have some items that we need to clarify, but we are really, really close to a contract. We had 11 county employees participate in mental health first aid on February the 17th. My thanks to Lifeways for sponsoring that, having staff available for that for our county employees. I would also like to thank our department heads who made the time available for their employees to attend, as well as the department heads who took time, and to Commissioner Ingalls who took time out of their busy days to participate in what was a long day. We're looking at hosting another class later on this year. Rachel, I respect your request to find a Thursday or Friday to facilitate district court employees. We had a number of your people that were interested in attending, and we will do the best to make that happen on a Thursday or a Friday so they can attend. County Fire Academy is going well. I did have the opportunity last week to instruct in 2 classes for that. I believe we have had one individual that has dropped out of that, so we are moving forward well with it. The 911 board met on February the 18th. The new Hillsdale Public Safety Director was introduced. I appreciate under consent agenda today, you're approving his membership in the 911 board. That is as part of the bylaws, a position specifically for the Hillsdale City Police Chief. So I appreciate you getting that done so he can participate at their next monthly meeting. Due to material delays, we are now looking at a late August completion date for the 800 megahertz project, and 911 is still looking for additional dispatchers. If you know of anyone who might be interested in that, that information is up on the county website. Hillsdale County Medical Control met yesterday. The new medical control director, Dr. Cook, was introduced to the group. We did schedule a meeting to discuss dispatch protocols, which is something Director Whitaker has been asking for about the last 18 months in regard to how calls will be dispatched, priority or non-priority, and that was scheduled. We are also going to be voting on updated state protocols at our next meeting, which I believe will take place in May. And we are also discussing standardizing APACs. We did standardize drug boxes with Jackson, but we are now discussing standardizing APACs with the Jackson Medical Control Authority. And we also have some additions to the various drug boxes and also updating the MCA bylaws. And we have department heads on this Friday, and that concludes my report unless you have questions for me.
Yes, Commissioner, what's our outstanding balance with Branch County on the money we funded to build their animal control building?
Well, there is not agreement that we have a balance with them. We made a contribution towards the construction of that shelter. We have to date expended, the last number I have, about $55,000 of that $90,000. However, that they are saying that it is really not a balance until the point where we exceed that, and there is no intent to carry over any of those dollars to any future contract.
They'll be refunding that?
No, there is no intent on their part. Their position is that they have significantly spent more than the approximately $9,000 a year on taking dogs from Hillsdale County, roughly 120 dogs a year on an average. So that dropped during COVID. It spiked a little bit in the years following, probably because a lot of folks got pets and then decided when they went back to work that they weren't able to care for them. So consequently, those numbers did spike up a little bit, but it's been approximately about 120 dogs. And but no, they have no intent of refunding any of that money. Yes, Commissioner.
And they also feel that they have substantially overspent comparatively on that 90,000 over 10 years. They made a big point that that was essentially 9,000 a year. And so when they spoke to us about the new agreement, it will be substantially different because those dollars, they feel that their spending is not balanced correctly for what we use.
And that is why we're exploring additional options.
You know, we had a discussion about that agreement with our legal counsel.
No, at this point we have not, because we again are exploring other options. And I will add to that our finance director has said that it is one of the most unusually written contracts that he has ever encountered.
So that it expires in December as well. So we're in February trying to figure out, you know, what those answers are exactly.
That contract was put together by Branch County Administration, so we did not write it.
And that was in the time when I was absent. I believe that would have been 2016 when that contract was put together.
15 or 16.
And while they say it was an unbalanced contract, in fact, both parties signed it. And it was balanced for those who signed it.
Correct. Well, and bear in mind, there's a new administrator and a new sheriff over there
Correct.
from the time that that's been signed. So
action item. My first action item is I move to rescind resolution 25095.
I'll support it so we can discuss it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yep.
As notice was given at our last meeting, per Robert's Rules of Order, the motion to rescind can be made by any party, regardless of how they voted on the original motion. If notice is not given, a 2/3 vote is required for that, but with prior notice having been given, only a majority vote is required for the passage of the motion to rescind. At our last meeting, we did not adopt resolution 26028. Had we adopted that resolution, the last sentence on page 3, number 5, would have already rescinded resolution 25095, because it stated that all prior resolutions dealing with the matter are hereby rescinded. The motion that was made by Commissioner Benzing to amend resolution 25095 and the language that is given is not sufficient to put the matter on the ballot, and it does not include the required legal language to be placed on the ballot, so stated by our legal counsel. And so, for clarification for the clerk, because the clerk has no language to put that issue on the ballot, that's why I'm in favor of rescinding 25095.
Which brings the next natural question. Do you have alternative language that will put it on the ballot?
That was resolution 28 that was defeated at our last meeting, Commissioner. That was the language that would have put it on the ballot. And there was, the actual ballot language was attached to that resolution.
So the wording is, if I may,
Yes, please.
so it was the wording that was defeated, not the, as I understand it, per Commissioner Collins, it was the wording that was the cause of concern, not the placement on the ballot. I think the intent is still to place it on the ballot with the appropriate wording that is acceptable wording.
Go ahead, Brett.
So, my understanding is the resolution that we had at our last meeting that was defeated was appropriate language as prepared by bond counsel and met the statutory requirements. Also, with the language to rescind the resolution that we are now considering rescinding, that would have placed the proper language. So if Commissioner Langer's concern was the language of my motion from past July, I would have expected that he would have voted in favor of that correct language. However, if the intent was to simply not allow this to go to the voters and to simply bring this back to a vote of commissioners, one would conclude that he gave this, that was the reason for his giving of his intent to bring this motion to rescind today. So if the intent was that the language was incorrect and we needed to rescind that previous motion and resolution that was made last July, the resolution we had before us 2 weeks ago would have done just that. And so I can't see why, at this point, we would be rescinding this language when we could have simply brought forward the resolution that we had a week ago. Unfortunately, since I did not vote in the majority of that vote, I cannot make a motion to reconsider. However, one of my fellow commissioners who did vote in the majority, if they do believe at this point, after hearing from the public today, of the outpouring of their desire to have this on the ballot, this could simply be taken care of by reintroducing the resolution that was defeated 2 weeks ago, and we would not need this motion to rescind that we have before us at this time. Thank you.
Anyone, any other comment before we vote?
The only other comment I would have is a common consistent question that I get is, and that is, when I am asked the question, should a bond of up to $15.5 million for a Lifeways building be placed on the ballot to be voted on or decided by commissioners? This is my answer. It is important for this request to be a ballot issue, not decided by at least 3 of 5 commissioners. I will be voting no on rescinding 25095.
Further comment? Kevin?
I would like to make a motion to table this for 2 weeks and have it put in there in the bond language that you can get something from Lifeways in writing on how much money they are asking for. Because if it's less than the 15.5 million, I want that on the thing before I vote either way.
And then accordingly,
Point of order, there's a motion to table.
Correct. I'm looking for a second. I'll second it. We'll table the issue to Kevin's request to get more information.
Well, we have to vote on tabling.
Correct.
Correct.
is that debatable or not debatable?
Not debatable.
Commissioner Dudley,
No.
Commissioner Leininger,
Yes.
Commissioner Ingles,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Webb.
Yes. Motion to table, excuse me. Motion to table passes 4-1. Please continue, Brent.
All right, resolution 26-032. To the Honorable Board of Commissioners. Whereas pursuant to petition filed with the Drain Commissioner of the County of Hillsdale, State of Michigan, the proceedings have been taken under the provisions of Act 40, Public Acts of Michigan 1956, as amended, for the making of certain intra-county drain improvements referred to as the Boyd Drain Maintenance and Improvement Project, which is being undertaken by the Boyd Drainage District and a special assessment district established by the Drainage District. And whereas the project is necessary for the protection of public health and in order to provide funds to pay the cost of the project, the Drain Commissioner intends to issue the Drainage District note or notes in one or more series in an amount not to exceed $628,000 pursuant to the Act. And whereas the principal of and interest on the note will be payable from assessments to be made upon public corporations and or benefited properties in the special assessment district. And whereas the Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners may by resolution adopted by a 2/3 vote of its members pledge the full faith and credit of the County of Hillsdale for the prompt payment of the principal of and interest on the note pursuant to section 434 of the Act. And whereas the pledge of the full faith and credit of the county to the note will reduce the cost of financing the project and will be a benefit to the people of the county. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The county pledges its full faith and credit for the prompt payment of the principal of and interest on the note in a par amount not to exceed $628,000. The county shall, immediately advance sufficient monies from county funds as a first budget obligation to pay the principal of and interest on any of the notes should the drainage district fail to pay such amounts when due. The county shall, if necessary, levy a tax on all taxable property in the county to the extent other available funds are insufficient to pay the principal of and interest on the note when due, subject to the constitutional and statutory limitations on the taxing power of the county. Should the county advance county funds pursuant to the pledge made in this resolution, the amount shall be repaid to the county from assessments or reassessments made on benefited properties in the special assessment district as provided in the act. The chairperson of the board of the county, the chairperson of the board, the county administrator, the county clerk, the county treasurer, the county finance director, and any other official of the county, or any one or more of them, are authorized and directed to take all actions necessary or desirable for the issuance of the note and to execute any documents or certificates necessary to complete the issuance of the note, including but not limited to any applications, including the Michigan Department of Treasury, application for state treasury's approval to issue long-term securities, and any waivers, certificates, receipts, orders, agreements, instruments, and any other certificates related to federal or state security laws, rules, or regulations, and to participate in the preparation of a preliminary official statement and a final official statement for the note, and to sign such documents on behalf of the county and give any approvals necessary therefore. Any one of the authorized officials is hereby authorized to execute a certificate of the county to comply with a continuing disclosure undertaking of the county with respect to the note pursuant to paragraph B5 of SEC Rule 15C 2-12, issued under the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, as amended, and amendments to such certificate from time to time in accordance with the terms of such certificate. All resolutions and parts of resolutions are, to the extent of any conflict with this resolution, rescinded to the extent of the conflict, and I move for adoption.
Support.
Any discussion?
Again, this is to fund the petition project that was submitted by the Village of Waldron, by the Village Council, occurring today downstairs in the Drain Commissioner's office, is the day of review of apportionment, where every individual in that drainage district was mailed a notice of that day of review. On that notice, it included a statement as to what their cost would be associated with the project. They will, once the day of review is done, if there's any appeals, if those figures need to be adjusted, they will be by the Drain Commissioner, and the Drain Commissioner will send notice to those properties that they have an opportunity to prepay that or to pay it over a 10-year period. They're looking, it won't be a 10-year bond on this. And again, if nobody prepays that, so we would be bonding for up to the $638,000 for the drain, $628,000 for the drainage district to cover those costs.
And just to restate, those properties that are impacted are the properties that will repay that 628.
Correct. Those properties in that drainage district will be assessed on their winter tax bill if they don't pay it in full over the next 10 years.
Is there interest?
There will be interest that'll be attached to that payment amount. What that will be yet, we don't know, because they have not gone out to secure the bonds yet, and that'll be determined based on the interest on the bonds.
And the last time we had a bond, it was 3.8.
I would have to go back through and double check that, Commissioner, because I don't remember if the last bond was a 5-year
Commissioner, I really, this is a rhetorical, but those drain assessments are not based on property value. They are based upon the percentage that property owner has within the drainage district, correct?
This district is a little different, Commissioner. It's not just based on there's many factors that went into determining this, because many of those properties are village lots in the village of Waldron, and so, the drain commissioner, through their legal counsel, there is a different assessment formula that's used for this district because of those smaller lot size, but even the great financial benefit that those property owners receive because of that. So you would have to talk to him and go down and look at that formula that was used on this, or watch the, they created a YouTube video that was linked in the notice of the day of review and apportionment, about a half-hour linked video, very valuable information. It included in it the amount that the county will have to pay as a drains at large portion, that the village and the township will both have to pay as the drains at large portion as well, were included in that. And forgive me, it was 2.5 weeks ago that I watched that video, and I forget what that figure is for the county right now, but we will probably be looking at paying that over the 10 years, much like we did with the Clark drain assessment.
Thank you. Appreciate your very, very detailed explanation. If we possibly might even have a link to that YouTube video up on the county website, if it is not already there.
It's already there in the day of review and apportionment.
Okay, perfect. Be under the drain commissioners tab for the public listings, so.
Well, public notice tab.
Okay, public notice tab. Very good, thank you.
Any other comment on resolution 26-032? Hearing none, roll call please.
Commissioner Leininger,
Yes.
Commissioner Ingles,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley,
Yes,
Commissioner Benson.
Yes.
passes 5-0. Please continue.
Resolution 26-033 to the Honorable Board of Commissioners. Whereas on June 11, 2024, at a regularly scheduled meeting of the Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners, the board approved filing a notice of intent with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, notifying Eagle that Hillsdale County would be the county approving agency for the preparation and approval of the county's materials management plan as outlined in Public Act 250 of 2022. And whereas the act also requires that each county approving agency shall designate a designated planning agency for the development and implementation of the material of the MMP. And whereas the Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners desires to partner with Hillsdale Conservation District in preparation and implementation of the material management plan, and the Conservation District desires to assist the county in writing and administering the plan for Hillsdale County. Now therefore be it resolved that the Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners authorizes the Budget Committee to work with and negotiate a contract with the Hillsdale Conservation District, where the district will act as a DPA for Hillsdale County's MMP, and the county will use funds received from the state of Michigan MMP grant to cover the cost of this agreement. I move for adoption.
Support. Moved and supported. Discussion please.
As contrary to what was stated in public comment, this is not agreeing to a contract. This is authorizing the Budget Committee to negotiate a contract that would then have to come back for approval before this body. The act requires a DPA to be named. Currently, that DPA with the Eagle is the county executive and Commissioner Wiley. And that is the DPA with the state of Michigan. Commissioner Wiley, then as the DPA, underneath the act, is required to write the plan with coordination with the Material Management Planning Committee. So, Commissioner Wiley, have you worked on writing the plan?
No, sir.
And again, What that cost will be with the Conservation District, we do not know yet. We've had some discussions with Kevin Wiedmeyer, the director of the Hillsdale Conservation District. They already work with Eagle on many other grants that they write individually with Eagle, where they receive funding for the tire recycling projects that they do. They receive funding for the electronic recycling through Eagle. A great entity that already knows that desire for material management. The second most questions that they get asked at their office by individuals that call the Conservation District is, what are they supposed to do with their refuse from citizens who call them seeking assistance? So it'll be an opportunity for us to partner with another Hillsdale County entity that has that expertise in working with Eagle, and I believe can bring the knowledge forward to write that material management plan. Working with the Material Management Committee, because this does not replace the Material Management Committee. If you read the statute, the DPA is under the direction of the Planning Committee, prepared as an MMP. So the Planning Committee is still vital in that process.
Any other comments? You have a comment?
Yes, I do.
Please do.
So, Commissioner Langinger, I appreciate your willingness to represent the commissioners at the Hillsdale County Materials Management Planning Committee. But I can say that Commissioner Wiley was not involved in writing the plan because I was. And I was authorized by this Board of Commissioners to do that. Those Eagle documents that you talk about are vast. There are many documents to sort through in the materials management planning process. The Eagle documents in no way prohibit the Materials Management Planning Committee from writing the plan. In the plan and development process of the approval, it states that the county approval agency, which is the Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners, is to establish and identify the designated planning agency, or your DPA, with 120 days of filing its notice of intent. In the Hillsdale County Materials Management Year 1 Work Plan, which was approved by this body, under Task 1, the planning process initiation, the DPA was listed as, the Hillsdale County Commissioners, the Materials Management Planning Committee, and myself, the county commissioner. I wrote that plan with the Materials Management Committee, submitted to Eagle, and it was approved. Although you have replaced me as the commissioner representative on the DPA, that is not sufficient reason to change the entire DPA. By having the Material Management Planning Committee write the MMP for Hillsdale County, the county will be able to more effectively and efficiently use the grant money to make recycling more accessible to our residents. Any grant dollars that should be spent, directly on MMP committee projects, not on an outside agency. Our local facilities, Jefferson Township Transfer Station, LRS in the city of Hillsdale, and now with Lake Pleasant Recycling combined, will meet the Hillsdale County standards set by Eagle. Spending grant dollars unnecessarily reduces what can be spent as determined by the Hillsdale County MMPC. Our MMP committee knows and represents what is best for Hillsdale County. And from what you just said, the Hillsdale County MMP does not recommend changing the DPA. We have representatives on the MMP committee from Scipio Township, from Ransom, Jefferson Township, City Hillsdale, that all directly have recycling, waste disposal, and are very aware and legally bound by statute to fulfill Eagle standards. I will be voting no on a resolution to change the DPA.
Further discussion? Brad, go ahead.
So, in the movie All the President's Men, about the Watergate break-in, there's a relatively famous quote, and that quote is, "Follow the money." So, to that, Soil Conservation, they're a great partner, great partner. They do a lot of work in agriculture. We have a county planning commission, and they used to have participants in that. They decided at one point they weren't going to participate in planning commission anymore. Material management planning committee. We looked for quite a while, and we had to figure out who the members were, and we sent out notice to partners across to apply for various positions. Didn't hear a peep out of Soil Conservation District about having a member on our county material management committee. But suddenly, when we have $82,000, which we'd anticipated, however, we'd heard, well, we don't know if we're going to get any money or not, but now we have $82,000 because of the work that has been done by our Materials Management Planning Committee for the past more than a year, and submitting documents and moving forward with a plan. All of a sudden, when we have $82,000 and the ability to direct where that $82,000 goes, suddenly the Soil Conservation District is interested in writing us a plan. I think that probably we can best do a materials management plan for the citizens of Hillsdale County that is written by representatives of citizens of Hillsdale County. And I think they've done a fine job so far, and I think that they can continue that work. And to that, I'm going to be voting that if we do receive any grant money, that it be best used by a group that has the best interest of the entirety of the citizens of Hillsdale County, rather than a particular entity that suddenly developed interest because they're $82,000. Thank you.
Further discussion on 26-033.
Just a comment. They did not suddenly develop an interest after discussing the Hillsdale County's material management plan with the representative from Eagle. I was informed that there are 2 other counties that have contracted with their the Soil Conservation District to administer and manage their material management plan. And so then I reached out to the current director of the Soil Conservation District to see if they would have interest in working with the county in doing that. They didn't come to the county, we went to them, Commissioner. Because they have the expertise, they can get the expertise that needs to be done, and the Material Management Committee is to still work with the DPA in writing that plan. The Material Management Committee still has a vital role in it, but the Material Management Committee from Eagle is not to be the designated planning agent. That is wrong. There's a break, has to be a separation of roles there, Commissioner. They cannot be the DPA. There's a designated planning agent that is different than the Material Management Planning Committee. Spelled right out in the statute. And again, we're starting a negotiation on a contract, not approving a contract. That would still have to be approved by this body.
One more comment.
Thank you. Jackson County, when brought to the table for their Materials Management Planning Committee, their Board of Commissioners decided not to participate. They decided to have Region 2 write their plan. When we had previously discussed this about potentially having Region 2 write our plan, and the Region 2 representative came here, he indicated that the bill would be approximately $40,000. Maybe it was $60,000. It was the amount, ironically, that the state was going to provide us in a grant. We as a body, Board of Commissioners, decided not to have Region 2. We did not want to join Region 2. We did not want to have Region 2 write our plan. We did not want to have to pay Region 2. Region 2, Conservation District, we don't need to use that money for that purpose. And that would be my final comment.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Ingles,
No.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley,
Yes.
Commissioner Benzine,
No.
Commissioner Leininger.
Yes.
Passes 3-2.
Passes 3-2. Anything else, Brent?
A couple of things in the communications in the packet was the January 2026 expenditure report from the finance director. He highlighted some of the things where we are over year-to-date budget percentage so far, gave reasons for those. If anybody has any questions on some of those, I think they're all fairly easy to justify, with having extra pay grades in the month of January. Those things will balance out by the end of the year. Still waiting for the Michigan Department of Treasury to release the recreational marijuana revenue that will be distributed to counties, cities, villages, and townships. Generally, it's right about this time of every year that they have released those figures. As of this morning, it was still not out on their website. I will say, though, that in the report, the money that was distributed to the Department of Transportation on the December report, and that money is reported annually on the Act 51 funding, that recreational marijuana money to the Department of Transportation was down 6% over the prior year. So I'm anticipating that just the total money to be distributed to the counties will be down that same 6% as well, because that percentage, as to what counties get, the Department of Transportation get, was approved by the public when they voted on the legalization of recreational marijuana. Everybody in the county that owns property should be receiving their notice of assessment from their local assessor here. If they haven't got it already, hopefully they receive those this week. I do know I believe most of the border reviews, and these are border reviews at the local township or city level. This is not done by the county. Those, I believe, are taking place the first week of March, but the day for the board review meeting will be spelled out on that notice of assessment. Make sure you review those thoroughly. I had combined a couple of parcels for the last tax year and didn't catch it at the March board review, had to go to the December board review to get it corrected, that it had, the agricultural exemption had been removed on those parcels that I had combined. Was corrected, but that's through that apportionment or board review processes where you can test if you feel that your property is assessed wrong. It's your local assessor that has the impact in that, not us at the county commissioners. So, but please review those, take notice of those. I haven't received mine yet. I don't know if any of the commissioners have gotten theirs, but I'm pretty sure that they've all been mailed by the local assessors. Commissioner Collins mentioned the health department. He said there were 3 contractors that had submitted bids. Only 2 of those were qualifying bids, and we will be discussing that at our meeting on Thursday. So, I have some other comments, but I will save those for the end of the meeting.
Any questions for Brad? I am gonna move that we go to the closed session pursuant MCL 15.268(1)D for the purpose of considering the purchase or lease of real property up to the time and adoption to purchase or lease that real property is obtained.
So we've got public comment on your agenda.
I am moving my report to the end as well as public comment because we have people that are waiting to be, that we're paying. You're welcome to stay, Lance.
So you're gonna ignore the citizenry again?
No, you're welcome to stay, but we have other business that we need to tend
So
to.
you're gonna ignore your agenda?
I am moving for a closed session. If I don't get support, then we will proceed as printed.
Well,
So
this
please
is my
sit
time to
down.
stand up and protest. Thank you.
Is there a motion of support?
Just point that the agenda was approved in the order with the closed session following public comment. I would suggest that we continue with the agenda as presented. We have a large number of public. I understand that we have the folks waiting. However, I
One of
believe
which
that,
we're paying.
but I believe, well, the people that are paying us are waiting.
Yes.
So to that,
If there's no support, I'll withdraw the motion. I'll move on with my motion to correct the minutes of July 8th, 2025, to fix the roll call vote on adopting resolution 25-095 as amended to reflect Commissioner Benzine voted A and Commissioner Leininger voted nay. So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? I think it's self-explanatory. This was reviewed by Mr. Thompson, and this was the language that he recommended. No discussion. Roll call, please. Let's stay consistent.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley,
Yes.
Commissioner Benzing,
yes.
Commissioner Leininger,
Yes.
Commissioner Engels.
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Passes 5-0. Resolution 26-034. Okay. Whereas Article 2, Section 4 of 41M of the Michigan State Constitution now gives every citizen the right, once registered, to vote in each statewide and federal election in person at an early voting site prior to election day. And whereas Public Act 116 of 1954, Section 622-1, as amended by Public Act 81 of 2023, requires that if at any election a county clerk conducts early voting for one or more municipalities located in the county, the Board of County Election Commissioners of that county shall provide one or more early voting sites. And whereas Public Act 116 of 1954, Section 720 G5, as amended by Public Act 81 of 2023, requires that the county clerk, after consulting the municipal clerks, shall submit each early voting site location to the Board of County Election Commissioners for approval, and each early voting site submitted for approval may serve all electors covered by the county agreement. The electors in specific municipalities that are covered by an early voting site, the electors of one municipality or any combination of those options, as long as each elector in the county is served by one or more early voting sites. And whereas the municipal clerks from each of the 18 townships and 4 cities within the boundaries of the county of Hillsdale desire to enter into an agreement for election services with Hillsdale County Clerk's Office to administer a centrally located and consolidated early voting precinct. And whereas the Hillsdale County Election Commission met on August 14th, 2023, and adopted a resolution assigning that one early voting county precinct located to room 2 of the Hillsdale County Courthouse, 29 North Howell Street, Hillsdale, Michigan. Now therefore be it resolved that the Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners do authorize the county clerk to sign the agreement for election services between the county of Hillsdale and the townships of Adams, Allen, Amboy, Cambria, Camden, Fayette, Hillsdale, Jefferson, Litchfield, Moscow, Pittsford, Ransom, Reading, Scipio, Somerset, Wheatland, Woodbridge, and Wright, and the cities of Hillsdale, Jonesville, Litchfield, and Reading respectfully submitted for approval. Mark Weiler, Chair.
Support.
Would the clerk like to make any comments?
Self-explanatory.
Any comments, Doug?
Are there any townships that excluded this kind?
No. They've all signed except for Somerset, and I believe they'll sign it. I've talked to them about it. If they don't sign it, then they won't be part of it. Simple as that.
Any other questions?
I understand the clerk's desire to coordinate this and source the lowest cost possible for all the municipalities. I disapprove of the location, and so I cannot support it because I do not believe that room 2 is the best place for this early vote.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wiley?
Yes.
Commissioner Benton?
Yes.
Commissioner Leininger?
No.
Commissioner Ingles?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Passes 4.
Passes 4 to 1, thank you. All right. I'll make my other comments, I have additional business. That brings us up to public comment. Anyone wish to address the board at this time? Go ahead, Stephanie.
I just wanted to let the commissioners know that the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, is hearing a foreclosure case from Pong versus Isabella County regarding the surplus proceeds or fair market value. So they will rule on that probably, I think, about June, after they listen to all the arguments. That is, you can listen to it at 10 o'clock on the Supreme Court website
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
So since you've tabled the whole Lifeways issue for two weeks, maybe saying $1 or $2, I don't see what the thinking is there. I don't think it matters. So this meeting here, you've had a standing room only into the hall for hours on end, public comment and all this. You've got women, children with their babies, like elderly, and also a lot of other people would like to be to a meeting to discuss this Lifeways issue with you people. And I think it would be very prudent to have a 5, 6 o'clock meeting at a better venue to better suit your constituents. I'd appreciate it if you bring that up on your additional business coming up. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board?
I've already spoken.
Your name again, please.
Elias McConnell.
Thank you.
I have a question for both Leininger and Wiley. Did anyone email you and ask for something to be read into the record? Find it interesting that neither of you read anything. I'm sure that you probably did get those emails. I don't know what the proper course of action, but be interested in FOIA-ing that information. Because it seems like you might be trying to hide some stuff. Mr. Wiley, specifically to you, you have stated that you have no monetary incentive, you have no otherwise incentives besides just being a loyal citizen and person to the boards that you reside. Do you have emails in support? Do you have your constituents in support of you? Either stepping away from this vote and letting it happen between these four gentlemen, or is it people asking you to not do this and let it go to them, themselves to vote? Maybe very, very careful with my words because they can absolutely get you in trouble. You say you have no incentive whatsoever. Why do you keep pushing this then? Are you a crook? Are you lying to your constituents? Are you, or is it the opposite? You're actually, there's an incompetence there in which you aren't a crook even though you're doing their bidding. I'm very confused by this and why you keep pushing this. Leininger, I know nothing about you, Mr. Leininger. You're not my representative. You keep pushing for this. I don't understand that. I think you guys should explain yourselves. Mr. Collins, I don't know why you decided to move that. I think the only offense I take is that there are so many people. I can't even tell you the dollar amount right now it's cost me and my company and the families that I employ for me to be here and to give my people the time off to be here to then postpone it. I do understand that you want to learn more information. I can understand that. I would implore you to, even if the number does change, one way or the other, to let this go. Change the wording, do as you need to do to make it legal and such, and let us vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board? Kelly?
Good morning, Kelly Mapes, Salmon Township. I drove all the way back because I feel like I started out on the wrong foot. I want to kind of back up and say I really wasn't going to get involved in the Lifeways issue, but as everybody knows, back in 2021 I came to the meeting and had some concerns with the bonds that had been issued on the first building that we cared about. So for me this has been a real long time issue, go all the way back to like 1993. But I want to start out, it's about our future generations. I'm not going to be alive. My husband's not going to be alive, but my grandkids are, my kids are, as everybody said. But I want to apologize sincerely to Doug and Brad. I did not mean the whole group by any means. I would have years ago apologized and included Leininger as when I first started coming to these meetings in 2020-21. I always looked forward to Leininger's vote because I felt like he was that third swing on our vote. Now it's adamant to me that he's so ingested in having Mark Wiley's position as the chair that his vote goes the other way and has for a couple years, so it's evident. Now I gotta talk quick. I remember Brad getting the papers on the DHS building as we were searching out buildings, because let's be honest, we've been all over the place. So he threw those papers on the floor and under his breath he said, I don't want to do this again. And I have a feeling Brad, because he's a long outstanding member, he knows good from bad and he knows this isn't a good decision. I believe that. And I feel bad for him because of the pressure. And Doug, listen, you went and got the survey, you paid $10,000 for it, we didn't even use that building, so what a waste of money, but on your part, you were doing your job, and I thank you for that. Now, 2 GIS sheets that I've printed, one for 24 and one for 26 on the partial of Beck Road. 1.78, $61,739 value, and then in 26 it went up to 2.2. Now let me read this, because I want to read this before I run out of time. It says a 1.7 acre partial could be indeed payment or prevent construction of a commercial building like the planned Lifeways facility. If the site zoning district, likely industrial or commercial, requires a minimum lot of 2 acres or such uses as a common in Hillsdale's ordinances for light industrial or institutional developments, to allow the adequate site design, everything expanding above 2 acres would be necessary to comply with these zoning standards, avoid variances, and enable site plan approval by Hillsdale Planning Commission. Now, I printed back in 2024 because I print everything, because they're scrubbing my phone. They really are. I'm not making it up. I'm not crazy. I print everything now. So my 9 banker boxes that I don't keep at my house, I dug these 24 GISs out last night. Guess what I found? 1.78, now 26, it's 2.2, and this says you gotta have 2 acres to develop it. Just think about it, right? We need to look into this. Now, I think that becomes malicious on their part because assessing has to be fair and just, right? So are we accommodating ourselves? That's my question. And as I'm looking at all these assessments throughout Hillsdale, let me just be honest, some people aren't assessed at their value, but the part of this where I go with this is 2024, its cash value is $61,739. 26, in the best market ever, right? It went down to $33,626. And then just 2 more questions. Was a feasibility study done like was required for the first bond set? And then I want to know if it's available to citizens. I'd like to see it. And then Lifeways board, when I get into their policy, it says there's a 3-year term suggested limitation. Well, we need to look at that too, because a lot of people are making lifetime commitments to these boards, like retirement commitments, right? And doing 20 years. Just a thought. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board?
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Clark with District 4. Commissioner Benzing, thank you for reading my email. Was hoping to be here earlier myself, but wasn't able to. But thank you to all the citizens who spoke up. I now have a chance to come and address you, meet you guys face to face. I think I'm going to go out on a limb and just say I'm speaking for a lot of the people who have spoken today, that we don't care whether it's a $15 million bond or a $12 million bond. We want to have the right to vote on that. That's our right as citizens. Those are our tax dollars. So if you think that just by pushing it out 2 weeks or so, people are going to forget about it, similar to what happened between July and now, I think you're wrong. This gives us 2 more weeks to keep getting people out here. It might be worth looking at a bigger room and maybe a longer meeting, because with what we did in 2 weeks, we had over 150,000 people interact with us in 2 weeks. Another 2 weeks, we can try to reach all the citizens in this county. More emails, more people coming in here. What has been released to the public is just a fraction of what we found. There's more out there to release. We didn't have time. You can only put so much out there in 2 weeks. Otherwise, it just gets lost in the noise. But because of this, we have 2 more weeks to let the people know what you guys have been doing. And we are going to do that. The people of Hillsdale deserve to be heard on this issue, and all issues when it comes to our funds. And we're going to spend the next 2 weeks making sure they get that choice. Thank you.
Yeah, anyone else wish to address the board?
Thank you, Brad. Bob Piper. And I guess, the greatest discussions are you guys want to say that go to the citizens. As far as I'm concerned, it's a stacked deck against the citizens no matter what. Abe is in control of these issues coming up, and a lot of us try to address what he's got for information. And as I said before, the heart is not, the the right thing to do. We need to change this back to where we have a paper ballot and coming in the door, put it in a box that we can all put our thumbprint on. I don't like the setup of it. I don't care for it any longer. We went through it before, and it's just absolutely wrong for our county. I have here also, just to say the least, when I got myself out of the hospital, which I was imprisoned in Henry Ford, I have my antique cars here. And again, I never got them back. You know, something like, why is it, this is not a report that Mr. Brady had, and state that, that is not in their references. And I go down there to your local place of licensing, and they say, well, I can't turn it in because there's not a report on it. You know, and that goes back to the BS from the Hodshire. That goes into the crap of this county. And you guys are asking for more money and more money? I mean, it's time you guys just stop. You know, I'm gonna get hit in the head again, I'm sure. But, you know, it's time this kind of rousing stuff goes on. And Mr. Collins, please, while other people are speaking, quit letting that chair squeak as much as that is. That's just irritating stuff. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the board? Thank you for attending. Entertain a motion for closed session, please. I will move to go into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268(1)D for the purpose of considering the purchase or lease of real property up to the time and option to purchase or lease that real property is obtained. So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes.
Commissioner Leininger,
Yes.
Commissioner Ingles,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Webb.
Yes. I would also ask that Randy and Jeremy be part of that closed session. I should have made that as part of my motion. Everyone else, if you're interested in staying for additional business, you may wait in the hallway. I just ask you respectfully stay away from the door.